Hello, everyone. It is Melina and
Jordan.
And we are the board certified bays.
Yes, we are the bays.
Welcome back. How are you doing?
Good.
Good. I'm glad. Are you gonna ask me how I'm doing?
Is that my cue?
Yeah.
Is that an unwritten rule?
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing?
I'm good. Good. Yeah.
Well, that little awkward moment leads us into our topic today, which is rule-governed behavior, which is funny.
Okay.
So we'll talk about what that is. Do you want me?
Yes, you should explain this. Thank you.
Okay. This is also a rule that has been created. Okay, so I'll dive in. A rule-governed behavior, we talk about reinforcement, and that is contingency-shaped behavior, right? That means the outcome is reinforcing or producing the repeat of that behavior again because the outcome is preferred for that individual. Now, when we talk about rule-governed behavior, we're talking about doing behaviors without actually meeting that contingency criteria, right? You're doing it before you're having access to the contingency, right? It's the contingency itself or the consequences from completing a behavior with the antecedents present is not shaping your behavior, just a rule is. So something that has been stated as an antecedent has control over your behavior, and that's what we call a rule-governed behavior. Does that make sense?
Yep.
It did? Okay, cool. Because I felt like it was a little confusing coming out. But anyways.
Yeah.
If you think it makes sense, then it makes sense for everyone. So that's
I think
good.
so. You can let us know in the comments.
All right. No, I'll try again. Rule-governed behavior means that something that has been stated has control over the behavior and not the outcome. You don't have to have contact with the outcome or the consequence in order for the behavior to be exhibited.
Okay, so let's just jump into examples then.
Okay.
So how do we kind of see this in everyday life?
Well, everyday life, you can take the safety approach. So you don't have to be in a car accident to know that you should wear a seatbelt because somebody told you once upon a time that you should wear a seatbelt when you're in the car, right? You don't have to be in an accident or be injured in an accident to know how important a seatbelt is.
Absolutely.
So that is a rule
that
has been created.
Yeah. So I feel like too, one that's like, I think of a lot of rules from when I was little that like, I'm like, I don't know if that actually made sense, but I still followed it because in my mind, like,
it made sense.
It just made sense, yeah. So like one would be like, my mom would say like, if you don't sleep with your socks on, you're going to get sick. And so like now as an adult, finally I slept without socks on and I actually didn't get sick, but that whole time I held on to that. And I don't think it's hope, but like, it was just like, yeah, okay, that's the thing. Which maybe it is true for some people, or maybe, I don't know. Anyways.
I don't know if it is.
Everything my mom says is right, okay?
Absolutely. But, parents have the right to protect the kids the best way that they see fit.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
And that makes sense. But that right there is definitely a rule. You didn't have to have contact with getting sick. But I would also argue that you probably got sick even with wearing socks every night.
Probably. Another one that I feel like I never really tried, I still haven't tried. Swimming right after I eat.
Yeah, that's another rule.
Have you done it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you throw up?
No.
Oh.
Did I drown? No, I'm still here.
Did you get like a cramp in your belly? Or anything?
No, I've never had a cramp after eating and then swimming. But again, it's a rule, right?
Will we have Aaliyah follow that rule?
I don't know. I think I would at a young age.
Okay.
Because the whole thought behind it is that you, with a full body and then exerting a lot of energy, right, can make you sick. And that's kind of where it comes from. So I think I would, at least when she's young, because I know that she will eat a lot and then run around a lot. And you tell me this all the time, like, don't play too rough or don't pick her up and swing her around because
he's like throwing her upside down. In that sense, I think, like that
well, it's safe and we've been having fun, but that's the same concept with the pool. So
okay.
There's that, there's don't be on a roller coaster while you're pregnant.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't have to have a contact with the consequences in order for you to
I know. If anyone has tried that, are you okay? Is your baby okay?
Yeah. But again, these are just things that you don't have to have contact with the consequence.
Yeah.
right? A rule of I will, if you go and pick up, seashells so I can make some necklaces, right? And I'll pay you $10 a bucket, right? You haven't been paid yet, but that's still a rule. Mm-hmm. You haven't had contact with the consequence.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I think, I think too, like, I think you kind of mentioned like the car one. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's definitely a big one, especially now with like children. Yeah. It's like even more cautious and even more like, nope, you need to wear your seatbelt, you need to do this, just being.
Yeah, you go through your list. And safety is a big one, but again, it's about sometimes those consequences that are stated, like you could get sick, you could be in an accident and injured, and all those. The severity of the consequence that's being stated. Yeah. Is enough to, evoke a fear response that makes you want to follow the rule.
Okay, so I have a question. If it's like scientifically proven information and people follow it, would that still be a rule-governed behavior? If it's like they haven't come into immediate contact with it, but due to scientific, like, studies or whatever, it's been proven that like wearing a mask, right, like can help prevent illness or whatever. Do you think that like it is still under that rule governed behavior if it's still like already been proven, like scientifically, things like that?
I would say yeah, based on the definition of what a rule governed behavior is. Okay. Right, just based on that part. Right. If we go to the textbook definitions and those sorts of things, then based on that, then yeah. Okay. Cool. Because it's all about having contact with the consequence, right? Because it's not if it isn't a contingency shaped behavior, meaning that there was an antecedent, a behavior, and then a consequence, right? And that shaped the future behavior. So they did it again because the consequence was beneficial to that individual. Without that, anything that is not going through that process, well, I guess not everything, but in what we're talking about now, if it doesn't go through that process, it's not a contingency shaped behavior. But if what is being said as the instruction or the antecedent has the control over the behavior, then it's rule governed. Okay. Right. So the CDC with masks or whatever, they came out with a rule that said that this is going to prevent you from being sick. Right. They don't necessarily know because you could go out without one of those and get sick too. Right. But they made the rule.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. Well, how do we see this in marriage or in our household? Things like that. Rule governed behaviors.
I mean, I like to keep a clean house. It's just me. And I mean, you too. I'm going to get in there before I get attacked. So.
Do I just be attacking you?
Here we go. Verbally.
I'm just kidding. Okay.
There's an episode a while ago where you were going in on me.
Stop it. Go.
I know I sound like a history teacher right now, but it was there.
Yeah, okay.
But so I personally have always kept a clean place that I stayed.
Okay.
I'm talking about me. You can take
I'm
this how
not saying
you will.
anything. I'm just listening.
I think everybody watching can see those eyes. And so like one for me that I just created for myself is like dishes in the sink will lead to roaches, like getting cockroaches in the house.
What's the time frame for that?
I mean, I would say same day. Like if they're in there and I'm not, I don't know what's eaten on the little food scraps that are on there, and I just don't want cockroaches. It's just
okay. I think one that I have for myself that you've been so weird about, like in the beginning of our relationship, is locking the doors. Like in the car, lock the doors. As soon as like we're taking off, in the house, lock the door. Like he's like, why do you always lock the door? I'm like,
that's how I sound.
Yeah. And I'm like, why not? I just feel like that's just a thing, safety, and technically I've never had anyone break into my house, but I still know that that's a possibility if I leave my door unlocked. I know it probably could happen with the door locked too, but that is neither here nor there.
If somebody wants to get in, they're getting in.
Yeah. So that's one that I think I've always had, that you're like, which again, we grew up very different as well. You grew up in rural Australia.
Yeah. Well,
and I grew up in...
We'd fall asleep with the doors unlocked. I mean, we wouldn't California. Do that now. I don't think. I think
Times
around the
have
world,
changed.
the times have changed just everywhere. But yeah, why not? I mean, it was, yeah. Got to run in the store real quick. Forgot to lock the door. Oh well.
Nah,
I mean, friendly neighborhood. We all looked out for each other. That sort of stuff.
not from the stories I heard. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, so that's one that I kind of think of within our household that I have always had and never really came into contact with. Anything that made me feel that way as an adult.
Yeah, but
Or
did that come from a rule? Like, did somebody say that? Like, you should always lock
Yeah,
the
I
door,
mean, yeah, like growing up, there were definitely reasons why we felt like we should. But again, still never really came into contact with like the immediate like of like someone breaking in or someone trying to kidnap us or anything like that. But being told like, yeah, the importance of locking your door and all that stuff. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I don't know how that story triggered this thought, but I think for little kids too, I mean, most of the time we don't take young kids to the dentist right away. It's something that we do when they're a little bit older, but when they're starting to get there, we tell them that you have to brush your teeth, otherwise you'll lose them, or you're going to get cavities or things like that. That's a rule that young kids develop that sticks with them throughout life. And sometimes they don't even have contact with the consequence at all of needing their teeth pulled or getting fillings or cavities or any of that sort of stuff. But it's a rule that as parents that we implement pretty young. Same with, going to bed on time.
I was gonna say eating your veggies. We're always like, it's gonna make you big and strong.
Yeah.
Knowing that, my daughter is probably not gonna, I mean, maybe because your genes are not mine, is not gonna be big. Strong, yes, but big, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, time will tell.
So even things like that, I feel like we do that a lot with kids in general, just like making up all these things just to get them to eat a certain food or, take a certain Tylenol or whatever. I don't know. Or we're told things. Like one that I don't understand that I feel like a lot of people have experienced. So like, tell me if this is true for you. I always thought that if you had the light on inside your car at night, you would get a ticket.
I've never heard that.
And so even now, up until whenever you told me that's not a thing, I'm like, turn off the light. I'm going to get a ticket.
I've never heard that. I know that it can be a distraction.
Tell me, because I feel like I'm not the only one.
I mean, I think I'll have to go into the Driving for Dummies books and see if there's like a rule that says that. I don't mean it in the way of calling people dummies. It's just those books have very clear information.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a thing that people grew up believing, but I don't know where it started. Like, who was the person that started that?
Never heard that rule before. If that's the case, why do they put lights in the car?
When you bark, if you need to see inside or something. I don't know. Okay. But anyways, I feel like we could do this all day.
Rules come about, and they're in every aspect of your life. You get them at work, you get them in marketing, you get them when the police officers are around. Society creates all these rules based on consequences that people don't necessarily have contact with, and that's just how society functions.
I have a question. Okay, so like before you were married, when you were growing up, things like that, or maybe when we were about to get married or anything like that, was there anything that any other men gave you tips or tricks of do this and your wife will be happy, or well,
that's a rule there, just happy wife, happy life, but that does not actually equate to a happy life if your wife is happy all the time.
Okay.
That's what, and I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that is
not applying it to me.
No, I would never apply anything negative to you.
Never ever.
But what I would say is that in itself is a rule.
Yeah.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah.
Right. There's nothing that says happy husband, happy something. Right. There's nothing that goes together. So I guess we're just there for procreation or to walk dogs or to lift heavy stuff. There's no saying that says happy husband.
It's a man's world, So everything revolves around you guys. But that is, again, another conversation for another day. But I'm just thinking, because I feel like, there's always the bachelor. Well, again, it's also very different, bachelorette versus bachelor parties and stuff like that. But I feel like, there's always these heartfelt moments, or more like bridal showers, I guess, which you guys don't have that. But more so just people feeling like they want to give advice and things like that, and it's sometimes it's trash. It's just bad.
Yeah, I'll give you all the advice, and you're like, that's what not to do.
Yeah, no, literally. So anyway,
But that's also to say that during that whole time, I had a whole bunch of people that were married and being very successful at that time too.
True. Yeah, that's true.
Because if they're not, why would you want to take a single bachelor's life as advice?
I see what you're saying.
Life.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know if anyone's like into Love is Blind. But they always have the worst friends, like, that are like trying to give them advice on the show. I know. It is trash, but I watch it because it's trash. And sometimes you just gotta watch trash, to disconnect from like being in a super serious like day or role or whatever. But yeah, so if you want some trash advice about marriage, watch Love is Blind and listen to their friends towards the end when they're deciphering whether or not they want to go through with the marriage.
That's so bad, because you know that they probably really believe that this is a quote unquote reality show. Yeah.
So anyways, okay. This is like not necessarily about rule governed behaviors, but just more over a general rule. Like, what do you think about rules? Because I hear stories about your childhood and I'm like,
yeah, I think rules are rules, laws are laws. One can be bent and one should not.
Okay.
I think that rules have their place.
Yeah.
But they vary from home to home, place to place, country to country, county to county, state to state, whatever it is that you want. I think consistency is key.
Yeah.
But if the rules contradict each other, or they're a little inconsistent, or they're outdated, you can bend them a little bit. In California, that's just the golden standard anyway. If you think about driving on the street, the sign says 65, but everyone in California says, no, it's the speed of everyone else. So then is it a rule or is it a law?
Okay, so see, like, this is where I feel like we're extremely different, which I'm like, rules are rules. I'm just a square, and so like every rule is stressful for me. I'm always like, we're gonna get arrested.
Yeah, that's still like
worst scenario. But I can also give you like a reason.
You park too close to the white line, you're gonna get arrested. What? I
did a California roll one time through a stop sign, and I think I scared my mom. But there was no one else that was there. So you gotta also understand perspective of like, you are product of your environment. So like, I've come a long way. Rules are important. Yes, they are.
They are.
And
rules that have consequences, right? Like,
yeah,
not every rule has a consequence. That's what rule governed behavior is. Like,
yeah.
Some of these rules have consequences that just parents have made that are just outlandish.
Yeah.
That don't really mean anything, or is it going to justify it, and you probably won't do as an adult. That's completely fine.
Yeah. Legally, I know legally you need to come to a stop at a four-way stop. But if no one is coming this way or across from you...
That's why they call it a California roll.
But does that mean... Could you still get... So you would kind of technically, depending on who you do it in front of, officer-wise, could still get a ticket.
Yes.
But...
I haven't seen a California officer do that because it says a California roll. But I can tell you that once I left here and went to Australia, I got a ticket for doing a California roll.
You're like, but California.
Yeah, and they're like, you're not there.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Yeah. Anyway, so rules.
Did that consequence stop me from California rolling?
No.
There, yeah. Here, no.
Oh yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, so
yes,
I think rules are like, yeah, they're like necessary. I think they're the bane of my existence sometimes, because literally I can't not follow the rules.
Yes.
And it makes me like a hot mess sometimes.
Rules for safety and those sorts of things, they shouldn't be broken, but I think rules can be bent. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? We
will refer to this episode as Aaliyah gets older and tries to bend those rules. So.
Yes, and they can be, but then you're the authority that's making the rules, then you have the difference in that retrospect too.
Maybe. Anyways, well, that was rule governed behavior.
Yeah, that's fun. If you guys come up with any like cool, fun, unique rule governed behaviors that you've learned or adopted over your time, drop them in the comments.
Or think
fun to talk about.
Is like super, super necessary to keep. Like, you're like, Does that make sense? Like,
No.
yeah, I know. I thought about it afterwards. Like rules that you will put in place for your own staff, kids, etc., whatever.
Yeah.
Or maybe rules that you have that are placed on you that you feel are super necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
I mean, it'd be fun. Sit there and chat back and forth about rules in the comment section. It can be fun.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I have a question. What is one thing you are looking forward to eating this week?
Whatever you sent me on IG with the breakfast sandwich. Only because I know how badly you love breakfast sandwiches.
I love breakfast sandwiches. It's like a Hawaiian roll with sausage, egg, and cheese. So good.
You didn't even eat it yet.
I know.
You said so good.
But I love all the things involved. Okay, so we're eating that this week. You guys heard it here first. Okay.
Yeah, but she's going to go grocery shopping.
All right. Anyways, hope you guys have a wonderful week. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks for our chat on rule governed behavior. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.